This is Matt Hall. I am here today with my good friend Carla Ponte Rogue. So Carla, I met her with a organization that my cousin and I ran with also my parents and all their family members, called the Miss Nutmeg Scholarship Organization. And in 2018, we brought over a title holder or a title called Miss Southington, and Carla was our first ever Miss Southington title holder. So she is now going into nursing. She's studying to become a nurse, and she wants to be on the front line. So please give the biggest University of New Haven welcome to my good friend, Carla Aponte Rogue. Carla, how are you doing today?
Thank you, Maddie. I'm so happy to be sharing not only how we became friends, but how working with you guys through the Miss Nutmeg Scholarship Organization and being Miss Southington has helped and shaped my life.
Yes, the Miss Nutmeg Scholarship Organization did help shape Carla's career. So with that being said, this podcast is part of the University of New Haven Welcome Project, a collection of stories about diversity, inclusion, and belonging. So without further ado, we're going to get right to the interview. So Carla, what inspired you to compete in pageants?
When I first started looking at pageants, I was only about 5 years old. And at that point, when you're 5, you just love the dresses and the pretty girls waving and having a crown on their heads. And as I got older, I started to see all of the other great opportunities that pageants bring, like interview skills and having a sense of self-confidence. It's very encouraging to young women to find within themselves, and that's what led me to continue competing.
So, can you tell me how pageants and how competing in them has guided you in your current career path?
A lot of people would think pageants and nursing have nothing to do with one another, and that's true. I guess another fun thing to think about is that prior to nursing, I studied biology and chemistry. Now that really has almost nothing to do with pageants. But once again, I always come back to the idea of all the skills that I learned through pageantry. And that to me was so important because when I was studying biology and chemistry, especially in my chemistry career, I was the only female in my graduating year to graduate with a chemistry degree. And I was the only one that year to graduate with a chemistry and a biology degree. And those are things that I took very seriously and that I was very excited and humbled to have been able to graduate from Albertus Magnus College with that distinction. And I believe that pageants guided me towards being able to accomplish those things educationally and now into nursing because of the self-confidence that I gained through pageants. And it's not about feeling like you're better than the other girls around you. It's feeling comfortable within yourself. And it's not just something women suffer from. I think everyone in this world sometimes has a hard time feeling like they belong somewhere or that they know who they are. And when you take the opportunity to analyze yourself and say, hey, what makes me happy? What makes me sad? What current activities in my community do I want to align myself with? What do I care about most? When you can answer those questions, then you can think about your future career and say, where do I want to be in 20 years in my career? And where do I align myself with the organization I want to work for? And for me, that's how I look at my nursing career. What hospitals do I want to align myself with? What organizations do I believe with? What kind of specialty do I want to pursue my clinical goals in? And that was all something that I learned through pageantry. You have to learn about yourself before you can help others.
In your opinion, do pageants help or hurt women's image of themselves?
That's a great question, and that's something that I think every young girl who competes in pageants has had to answer at least once in their life. And the way I'll answer this is that after I won Miss Southington, I went to school and I was very excited about my win. And all of my friends were talking about it in class and they were very excited for me. And my biology teacher, who is a female, a woman, right? She said, Carla, you don't compete in pageants, do you? I mean, those things are awful. And I remember sitting there thinking about the fact that I was being told by a professor who I had regarded very highly, trying to tell me that something that I do is horrible. And I said, but it's not. And I had the opportunity to discuss this with my own teacher. And I told her how I don't agree with the idea that it's bad, that I actually view it as an opportunity to teach many individuals about a lot of things. My final question was on whether climate change exists and what my thoughts were on climate change. Now, that's a question that is debated heavily in our nation, and whether or not we should be responsible or have organizations be held responsible. That's a question that I got asked on stage that I had to think on the moment on my thoughts. And that's not a question that I think has anything to do with body image at all. That's a question about what your thoughts are in this world. And for me, that's what pageants are about. It's about knowing where you stand on a lot of important issues in this world. It's about making a difference in your community and not about anything that has to do with your physicality, which I think at times we put too much emphasis on. And for me, being able to say that to her, and I told her what my final question was, she was surprised because there's a lot of misconceptions out there as to what pageants are. Sure, I'm in a dress and a gown and heels, but I also just did an interview talking about child abuse. I was asked on stage about my questions on climate change. I have an opinion on a lot of important factors and matters in this world. And more importantly, I'm going out there in the community and I'm trying to make a difference. And that's something that you do with and without a crown. Even now, without any title, I still participate in a lot of organizations that I did as a title holder because it has nothing to do with the crown and being able to say that I'm a Miss, Southington or Miss Wolcott or Miss Enter Your Town Name here. It's about what I feel is important as an individual and trying to do better.
Yeah, and I, excuse me, hearing what your professor said to you, that was really hurtful. Mm-hmm. And, like, if I was the boss of that professor, I would fire her in a second. If I was, if I was your professor, I would say, Carla, I hear, you compete in these pageants. You won Miss Southington 2018, these things are so amazing. I've heard nothing but good things to them. I would have said, bravo, bravo. You know what? That is an honor. That is an accomplishment. I would have said, great job. And at your next pageant, break a leg. And you know what that phrase means in the world of theater? It means good luck.
Thank you, Matt. I know you would have. And I would just want to say that even though that's how she felt, when my honor society found out, they actually put me in the newsletter because they recognized that it had more to do with more than just outward appearance. And I think that's why I love competing, is being able to break that mold and to tell people that there's more to that.
When you were a title holder, did any of the organizations that you worked for help to narrow down your career path?
Absolutely. So I've worked with a lot of different organizations throughout my career in pageantry, not only as Miss Southington, like I had mentioned, but I, after Miss Southington, held a statewide title called Miss World's America Connecticut. And with all of the organizations that I helped, they all had to do with helping others. With my organization of Abuse None, had to do with child abuse. Prior to that, I was part of the American Heart Association, and that was my platform. And lastly, I helped the Alzheimer's Association and was able to create a team to do the walk in New Haven, where we raised more than $2,500 in only 2 months, which is incredible because I only had the title for 2 months. And even though I would have joined in and done a team, when you have the opportunity of carrying on a title, you're able to talk with more individuals, and so you're able to raise more funds. And through that title, Maddie, you and your family were one of the many individuals who were willing to support my platform and supported my team. And it was through our conjoined efforts that we were able to raise that much in such a short period of time. So I'll take that opportunity to say thank you again for always being there for me and for all the titles and opportunities that I've been able to have. And I'd have to say that because all of those platforms and all of those organizations that I worked with were to help others, it definitely helped to just remind me why it is that I want to do nursing in the first place. I love helping people, I love being around others, and I like being there in times of need, whether it's for a child or someone with Alzheimer's or someone suffering from any of the several heart diseases out there that there are in the world. It's all about helping others, and that's what I want to do long term.
Yeah, and it's sure, you show that with, going into nursing, helping others. And I remember at all, the pageant events, be an amazing nurse. And I want to say, congratulations on wanting to go into this field. And what is one message that you would give to someone who wants to compete in pageants?
Find your why. And that seems very odd, but as much as I talk about how exciting pageants are, and they are, it can also be very stressful. So during those times of stress, you need to know why you're competing for this pageant and what you want to do with it. If your why is something as superficial as I just want a crown, you're not doing this for the right reasons. And when this gets a little tough, when all of a sudden you're running from one thing to another, when you're trying to decide, okay, what am I going to spend my free time in this week? You're going to be so stressed that you need to remember why it is that you're doing this. And that would be my message. Find out why. At the end of the day, only one girl wins, Maddie. Only one. You could be competing with 50 and only one wins. So you need to know why you're doing it so that you can be happy for the girl that wins, even if it's not you.
Yeah, that's a really big point. Well, Telling Digital Stories class, let's give one big round of applause to Carla Ponte Rogan. Let's thank her for this interview and for this story. Thank you again, Carla. So, once again, my name is Matt Hall. Thank you again, Carla. This was a blast. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. The overall message is that competing in pageants can really carve out your future and really help you to know what you want to do in your career. And, from Carla's standpoint, if it wasn't for all the pageants that she competed in, she wouldn't be in this career path of nursing and wanting to be on the front lines. So Carla, thank you again for coming and sharing your story and sharing this message to everyone. This podcast is part of the University of New Haven Welcome Project, a collection of stories about diversity, inclusion, and belonging. To listen to or watch more projects, visit newhavenwelcome.com. Once again, my name is Matt Hall. You have been listening to myself and my interviewee, Carla Ponte Rogue. Carla, say goodbye to the lovely people.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope all of you have a great day. Goodbye, everyone.
How exciting!